folks. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to episode 19 of Recommend an Album to Review. So thanks so much for supporting the show. We're 19 weeks in. Please hit the like and subscribe. Much appreciated. I'm trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. We're in December, so see how it goes. But the way the show works is in the comments, leave me an album you'd like me to check out. Something that's a studio record that's not crazy long. Has to be a band that I haven't already done a show on. And the following week, I will do a review of that record. So the record we're talking about this week is from a local band for me from Toronto, Canada. This record came out in 1975. This was a band that was kind of known, but only in very specific circles. Wasn't really a huge name, kind of, all over the map. The band I'm talking about is Moxie, and we're going to be, I'm going to be doing a review of their first record, which is called Moxie. Came out in 1975. Now, the interesting part about this record is that the lead guitar player, Earl Johnson, did not play a lot of solos on here. Apparently, there was an argument with the producer, and they got Tommy Bolin. Okay, Tommy Bolin is playing solos on, I think, 8 of these 10 tracks. So the band, this band continued on through the 80s and 90s, through different personnel changes. But this lineup, the original lineup, you've got Buzz Sherman on vocals, Earl Johnson, the guitar player. You've got Bill Wade playing drums, Terry Urick on bass guitar, and Buddy Kane was the second guitar player. So there you go. But real interesting. Having Tommy Bolin. So the story goes that when they were recording this track, the studio they were recording in, Tommy Bolin was recording next door on his first solo record, and they kind of needed a guitar player, and they asked Tommy to come in. There was a relationship there. Their road manager was Tommy's road manager, something like that. Anyways, Tommy Bolin came in and he played a bunch of solos on this, so the solos are really good. So anyway, let's go through this record track by track. All right, the first track on this is a song called Fantasy. Now, this is kind of a mellow track, kind of a slower tempo. Starts off, really light, then it gets heavy, then it goes light, kind of one of these light and shade things. Not a bad song. There's a lot better coming up. My question with this is, when you're starting off an album, the album opener for me is always a big deal. It kind of sets the tone, and I don't think I'm just talking about song placement. This as an opening track is kind of like, you want to kind of kick it in a high gear and get you excited about the album. And this one really doesn't do it for me. There's much better coming up, but as an opening track, this one kind of sits a little flat for me. But yeah, it's the opening track, Fantasy. So let's move on to the second one. All right, the second track is called Sail On, Sail Away. Now, this one starts off with acoustic guitar, and then it gets heavier, and this one is very Zeppelin-esque. At the end, I'll talk about what I kind of hear, the different ingredients in different bands, sort of to give you a little bit of perspective. But this one is very, very Zeppelin. There's even like a little bit of a immigrant song, dun-dun-dun-dun, kind of riff in there, that octave thing. But really good. This is a really good song. Much better than the first song for me anyway. I enjoyed this one a lot more. Again, though, I question, why is that the second song? This should have been maybe the third or fourth song in the record. But it is a really, really good song. I think it's much better than the opener. So, yeah, Sail On, Sail Away, great track. All right, the third track is Can't You See I'm a Star? Great riff, man. This, from what I've read, was sort of like the big hits off of this record, maybe the biggest hit. Just a really good riff rocker, really infectious, really catchy. Yeah, just a straight up great rock tune. I don't know how else to frame it, but yeah, just a fantastic straight up rock song with a super, super catchy riff. All right, then you got Moonrider that kind of starts off sounding like a BTO song, but then it just there's a really quiet breakdown and then it gets heavy again and it's got a lot of nice changes to it. And I mean, it's not a long song, but it's epic in the sense that it's got all these different parts to it. And yeah, just yeah, Moonrider is fantastic. Yeah, good tune. They got Move On, which again starts off with like a chordal riff that sounds really cool. But the best part about it, and they do this in a few of their songs, where they just kind of jam, and the jams are fantastic. You know, I mean, it's everything kind of goes around, and there's changes, and it's like they break away from the typical uh, format of a song, and that in the sense that instead of like having a bridge part, they just kind of jam for a while, and that's a really good example of a fantastic jam. So yeah, fantastic tune. Uh, Time to Move On, great song, great song. All right, Still I Wonder is the next track. It's got like a really heavy riff to it, but then so you get the verse, and then it kind of in the bridge section it expands on that riff, and it's just rocking. Just these guys. What I really like about this record is there's a lot of like little shifts in. Either they'll jam for a while, or they'll morph the riff, or they'll have a completely different riff, and really, really keeps it interesting. So there's a lot of stuff to kind of catch you. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of hear the beginning riff and you hear the chorus, and you think that's the whole song, but no, it's not. They always throw in some Easter eggs to kind of really, really make it interesting and make it a great rock record. And that's one of them. Still, I Wonder. Great song. Then you got Train. Train is the closest thing to a blues on this record. Uh, this is not a blues. I mean, it's a mid 70s rock record, but there's really not a lot of bluesy. There's really no Aerosmith kind of leanings on this. It's more like straight up hard rock. This is the closest they come to that. They really kind of slow down. It's a very slow down blues, but there's some really tasty lead guitar playing going on this. And I mean, even though it's a slow blues, but it's they keep it interesting, and the lead playing on this song is amazing. So yeah, so Train, another fantastic track. And then the closer, Out of the Darkness, another big lumbering heavy riff with some really great playing on it, and some really, really fantastic guitar fills, and just yeah, just a killer song. I mean, really, for me, after the first track, Fantasy, this record kind of takes off, and it kind of goes from there. So um, it's a looking at the year of this, 75, I'm thinking, okay, I kind of know what this is going to sound like. It's Canadian, it's from Toronto. I'm thinking, it might be like a little kind of BTO ish, whatever. And it does have, I hear ingredients of Bachman Turner Overdrive. I hear some Rush, the first record, right? But there's even a little bit like, I mean, there's sprinklings of prog in here. There's a lot of this for 75 is, I think, a pretty heavy record for that time period. And I mean, there's even like a little bit of prog in there at times. Like these, you can tell these guys were like sort of top tier. I guess Toronto musicians at the time, and from what I read, it's sort of that's basically what it was. This was a grouping of some of the top musicians in Toronto at that time, and getting together and making this band. Just some really good songwriting, some really interesting songwriting. It's not predictable. There's a lot of stuff to kind of keep your interest with the changes and things and the jams that they do. There's some really good playing on here. The vocalist Buzz Shearman, he's got like a sort of a higher pitched voice. It kind of suits the music well. He does get a little raunchy. His voice, for the most part, is kind of clean. Just a this is just a really good rock record, not a blues record. No boogie woogie in this. This is all heavy bar chords and riffs, and just really, really well done. I really dug this record a lot. I mean, it's not what I expected, because again, sometimes 1975, Canadian rock band, you're thinking it's another BTO, but these guys are not. They're like BTO at a higher gear with a little more change ups and interest going. But yeah, man, I really dug this record. Out of 5, if I was to rate this, um, I don't know. It's somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4, maybe 3.75. But, if you've never checked out Moxie and you want to start, well, this was their first record. So go and check these guys out. They don't have a lot of albums out. Yeah, there's only like 6 records of theirs. They only have 6 albums out. So, yeah. Again, thanks for the subscriber that mentioned it. This is a band that I'd heard of a lot being from Toronto, but I've never really, had a reason to kind of listen to their catalog. So this really did pique my interest. I'll be listening to some Moxie. So thank you so much for that. Thanks so much for watching. Please, in the comments, if there's an album you would like me to review for the next week's show, throw that in there. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like. Please subscribe to the channel and have a great rest of your week. Cheers, everybody.